Now to the latest reactions to Secretary Kerry's speech on the Israel-Palestine conflict. A statement from British Prime Minister Theresa May said, quote, "We do not believe that it is appropriate to attack the composition of the democratically elected government of an ally." That remark following Secretary Kerry's description of Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition in this way.
His current coalition is the most right-wing in Israeli history, with an agenda driven by the most extreme elements.
Joining me now is Zaha Hassan, Middle East Fellow for New America. She was a senior legal advisor to the Palestinian negotiating team during Palestine's bid for UN membership from 2010 to 2012. Thanks for being with us, Zaha. First, let me get your reaction to the British Prime Minister's response to Secretary Kerry's speech from a legal standpoint. What's your take on this?
I mean, it's not necessarily a legal issue for the United States to comment on what the makeup of another government, of a foreign government. I think what we saw from Secretary Kerry was real frustration that the Obama administration has been feeling about the Israeli government for the last 8 years. And his criticism, came, at the very tail end of this, of his 4 years trying to broker peace between Israel and the Palestinians, and being met at every corner with announcements of new settlements in the West Bank. And so that frustration, particularly with him over the last 4 years, came out in his statement. And I think that the British Prime Minister's response had more to do, perhaps, with the fact that the British were behind the draft UN resolution and its process through the Security Council, and so maybe her comments reflected more, or tried to deflect maybe on the British government's responsibility for the UN resolution. I want to get
another reaction, though, to Secretary Kerry's speech from New York Congressman Eliot Engel. Take a listen to this.
I think the mistake that the administration has made and that Secretary Kerry has made is disproportionately blaming Israel for this. The Palestinians have engaged in terror. The Palestinians have not been willing to sit down without any preconditions.
All right, and finding a way toward peace, you have to understand both sides. Can you understand that frustration?
On the part of Eliot Engel?
Yes. And others who agree with him.
Yes, I can, but not necessarily with respect to having the Secretary focus his attention on settlements. I mean, there's been an inordinate amount of attention focused on, Palestinian incitement, Palestinian violence, without looking at what the source of the conflict is. And the source of the conflict is the ongoing occupation that is now entering its 50th year. So this isn't an issue of Secretary Kerry talking without a history behind him and behind the U.S. government's attempt to find a resolution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. He was speaking to 50 years of Israeli settlement construction inside of the Palestinian territories, and what that's going to mean for the future of Israel. I cannot think of a high-ranking U.S. official that more eloquently put the issue in front of the American people the way Secretary Kerry did. He made it clear that Israel is headed towards an apartheid regime. You cannot construct settlement colonies inside of another country and not expect there to be violence, not expect there to be a reaction. And
Zaha, I've got to break in just for a second, because I have to get your reaction to this, because you have raised concerns about President-elect Trump's nominee for U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. Why is that?
The ambassador is the president of a charity, a U.S. charity, that supports settlements inside of the West Bank. And the settlement in particular that he was the president of the charity for is Beit El. And Beit El is on the doorstep of Ramallah. It's actually, within view of the Palestinian Prime Minister's residence in Ramallah. So that is clearly a settlement that would hinder completely the idea of a two-state solution. So to have the ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, as Trump's nominee would be really problematic in trying to move forward to a two-state solution.
Okay. Zaha, we do appreciate your take on this. Appreciate your time today. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
It is